Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode I'm going to show you how I shot and retouched one of my favorite panorama ever. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramadi. I am a French photographer coming from the nice, the beautiful, the romantic city of Paris, France, and I live also in USA, Los Angeles. I make 2 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to get the raw file of this episode, and I'm going to give you some very nice raw files from Big Sur, or click here if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In last episode, I showed you how to change the sky of a photo. This is the final result. This week, I'm going to take you to Big Sur, California. It's one of my favorite places I've always wanted to go since I started doing landscape photography, and we're going to do this photo together. So, let's not wait anymore. Come with me to Big Sur, California. One little thing before we get started, if you want to support our free podcast every week, all you have to do is go on any of my website links on photosearch.com, like tutorials, daily tips, and there you will find an Amazon link. We have a little partnership with Amazon. If you click here and then do your regular shopping, we'll get a small commission. That small commission will help us a lot. Thank you so much. The best thing to do is actually take that link and drag and drop it into your bookmark or shortcut on Chrome or Safari, and next time you need to go to Amazon, just click here. You will be on the homepage of Amazon. You can order anything for you, groceries, whatever you need, and a small commission will come to help us finance all the free stuff we're doing. Thank you so much. And now, all right, so welcome to Big Sur, USA. This is the Julia Pfeiffer Burn. That's the exact location. I tell you this because when I came to Big Sur, I went to Pfeiffer Beach, and it was a nice beach, and I'm going to do another tutorial on that, but it was not what I was looking for. What I was looking for was this beach, which is the Julia Pfeiffer Burn. That's how it's called, just so you know. It's about 10 miles south of the Pfeiffer Beach. And I've seen this photo over and over. I've been doing landscape for about 11 years now, and I keep seeing this photo on 500px, and I said, oh, one day I must go there. And I was so lucky because I was so much hoping for the day that I would come, I would get some nice clouds, and I did get some nice clouds. So I'm going to walk through a little bit the different lighting. I mean, what was amazing is I came just before sunset. So this is how it looked when I arrived. This is the raw on retouch, but it was, there was not much colors in the sky. And it's actually a beach which is forbidden for public. They preserve it for the nature, so you cannot walk down there. But you have this sort of little waterfall here. If you can see there's an actual waterfall on the beach. And what I first did, my first idea of shooting this was to do it with a long exposure. So I put in an ND filter on, and I went to 3.2 seconds. Why? Because I wanted to get this effect in water that's sort of like, this white stripes. And this you can only get with an ND filter. It was too much light to be able to do it. So I put an ND filter. I was at ISO 80. Actually, I probably was intending to go to ISO 50, which is the lowest I can go on the Sony A7S or A7R. I forgot which one I shot it with. And then I was at 7.1. Now, the reason why I was at 7.1 is because there was nothing very close to me, so I thought 7.1 was going to be a good aperture. It was kind of a bit of a mistake, and I'll explain you why. I should have gone to f13 or f14, and you will understand why in a second. Anyway, so that's the first photo that I got, but the scene was so big that I wanted to make a panorama so that people can see how big it is. So I started taking different photos, going up and going to the right, going down to the right, going up again. And the problem was that, and so going again to the right, going to the right, and going to the right. The problem was that the sun was on my right, okay? The sun was not on the star, which is here, this waterfall. So after a lot of retouching, this is what I got, and I'll do another tutorial on this one. So you have this, this water going, in a crazy directions due to the ND filter. You got the sun there, and I did not pick this. It's not my favorite one because there's too much land here. This is taking too much, and the star here is not enough. I like the frame in the frame. I like that there's a bit of land, but that my frame is a bit too big. I like that photo, and I'll probably will do a tutorial on this one. Then I waited for another 10 minutes. And 10 minutes later, the sun started coming down and was lighting the beach. I was like, oh, this is a great. And this is how it looked. So this time I tried to do a little pano, but just going from left to right. So first photo, second photo, third photo, fourth photo. And that's the final result that I got. I did not like the composition at all because now we lost the frame in the frame. This looks very small. I really did not like that photo. It doesn't give, and it doesn't give the grandiose of the place. The sky is kind of nice, but it was really a not good composition because we lost the frame in the frame. This is too much to the left, too much close to this. So then finally I moved a bit more on the right, and 10 or 15 minutes later, all of a sudden the sky started to have some pink colors. And I was like, what? This is crazy. So this time I went from right to left, and I was trying to get a frame in a frame effect. So this is the first photo, that's the second photo, that's the third photo, and that's the fourth photo. I was just trying to get all of the scene. And this is the final result, and this is what we're going to be doing today. This is probably one of my favorite photo ever, and this is really how it felt to me. The sky was pink. On the right, the sunshine was crazy. I mean, it was like paradise. So how did I get that result? Well, here is the secret. First thing is I'm taking all these 4 raw files, and I'm going to just right-click, edit, photo merge, and click Panorama. Because we have this new option in Lightroom CC, which is amazing to be able to do panoramas within Lightroom and keep them as a raw file. So I'm going to do my retouching at the end, which I prefer because I can really choose my white balance how I want it. Okay, now let's talk about panorama option. The first one actually that Lightroom proposed me was spherical. Now I did not like spherical on this panorama because look, it made the horizon as a spherical, as a sphere, and I could correct this in Photoshop, but I wanted to do this tutorial in Lightroom and Lightroom only. Then we have Cylindrical, which is, I believe, a little bit better, but still we have this circle effect. And then we have got perspective. Now perspective is going to be much better for this because now the horizon is straight. So I'm going to go for that. I'm going to click on merge, and I'm not going to do the auto crop, and I'm just going to click on merge, and I will do my own cropping as I wish. And so this is going to create one big, huge raw file, which is going to be a panorama raw file. And now we're going to start the retouching from there. And this is really how I like to work today because if I had taken each of these files and corrected the white balance and then created a pano, the problem is that when you discover your pano at the end of the day, you're like, oh, my white balance is not exactly how I want it to be. But now you cannot change it anymore. You can, but it's going to be very hard because you lost the raw ability. What is the raw ability of white balance? Well, here is the panorama. If you go to the develop module, let me put this in full screen so you can see better. We have here on white balance, we've got different settings, which is there, which is really cool. Now on this one, I spent a lot of time finding the right balance. And I think I went to something like, well, let me first crop this. So I'm going to take the crop tool. First thing, I'm going to take the angle and I'm going to make the horizon completely straight. Okay. And then I'm going to start cropping. So I'm going to crop here. I'm going to crop there. I'm going to crop here. And I'm going to crop here. Okay. And press enter. So now we have a better cropping, but the photo is completely, it's got no colors. But check this out. If you do plus 100 on shadows and minus 100 on highlights, look all of a sudden how it is. Then I'm going to do my black points. I think on this one I went to like minus 33, and then my one white point I was like at something like this. On this one, now here is a very important trick. And this is something I learned the hard way. When I started doing photography, I would landscape, I would add on all my photo a lot of clarity and vibrance. And although it looks kind of stunning, the problem, it looks very fake. Because when you add too much clarity, it looks fake, especially when you do the plus 100 and minus 100 trick. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do minus 20 clarity. By doing minus 20, I'm bringing back some normal look to it, okay? But I'm also going to add some contrast because it's lacking of contrast. So I'm going to go, I think I added a lot of contrast on this one, like plus 37. I'm going to add a lot of vibrance. Vibrance is going to make the color pop, like 36, and a bit of saturation to make it pop even more, like 13 or something like this. That's my basic. Now my white balance is kind of off, and I try different white balance. I think at the end of the day, no, shade didn't work on this one. Daylight didn't work. What I did on this one, which I really liked, was 4,513 on the temporary, so towards the blue, and plus 10. This I really liked as a white balance. Okay, so that's just the starting point. We have a few issues to correct in this photo, but it's starting to be something, you know. If you backslash it, that's the before, and that's the after. And this is only possible because the colors were truly there. It was pink everywhere. Here it was like completely yellow. And all I'm trying to do is, in the raw file, get back justice to the beauty that I was seeing. Okay, so now let's take care. And this is, so make sure, you know, clarity. I'm going to go for a very saturated look, but I still want to go for a natural look. Because you know what? It was super saturated for real. But it was not super clarity for real. I wouldn't do that. That's why I'm going minus 20. Okay, now another trick. So now look at the sky. The sky, I see so many people sending me photos where they have a lot of dark shadows in the sky. The sky looks very HDR. That's because they use too much clarity. I'm going to go the opposite on this photo. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gradient filter. And I'm going to do a first one for the sky. Now on the one on the sky, I'm just going to go to exposure and bring down a little bit the exposure, but very little, like minus, yeah, something, minus 60 or something. And then I'm just going to do, again, a little bit of minus clarity. Like, I think on the first one that I did was, yeah, very little, just a little bit of minus clarity, something like this. I don't want the sky to look HDR. That's why I'm doing this minus clarity. Okay, now here, I don't like this. This is not very nice. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do two things. I'm going to take this tool, which is a spot removal tool, and I'm just going to paint over this. And luckily, we are surrounded with a lot of random texture. So if I put this here, it's going to take that out. Okay, but I think we have too much attention, and I want the viewer to go inside. I want the viewer to go to the beach. So I'm going to take the gradient filter back again. I'm going to make a little gradient here, and I'm going to make this black. Not completely black, but make this black. I don't want so much attention to be here. So that's one gradient. I'm going to do the same gradient here. I'm trying to, what I call, close the photo. And I'm going to do one more here, maybe. I really want this done part to be black. Check it out. Before the gradient filter, after. You see, maybe it's a little bit too much here on the right. I can always, you know, but I want this to be dark. I want the viewer to go here, okay? Now, one very important thing is that the sun was on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a circle, a radial filter. I'm going to make a big one. I'm going to invert the mask, feather it completely, move it to the right, just where the sun was. And on this one, instead of going minus, I'm gonna boost the sunshine because it's the exposure. I'm gonna boost the exposure here, something like this. Maybe make it even bigger, and I'm gonna put the temperature to 100. So I'm gonna add a lot of yellow, and I'm gonna go even more crazy. I'm gonna add some saturation, like 60 or 55, because that's truly how the sun was very hot. It was here on the right side. Okay, so now we start to have something which is kind of cool. I think to make even a better sky, I'm going to add another gradient here on top, just on the very top, and I'm just going to lower a little bit the exposure and add a bit of blue, just a little bit, because it was really going from blue to yellow. So I'm trying to achieve that, and the sun was really there on the right, very nice. Okay, so now we're almost done. The last thing I want to do is take a brush and I'm going to go on exposure, make sure my flow is pretty high, like 890 is good. And then I'm gonna just dodge some part of this photo, make some part. Want to add some more lights to here. Well, that's way too much. I'm gonna lower this a bit. And I give you a little trick also. One thing you can do if you dodge something, it's too bright, you can press Alt, make your brush big, and just on the edge here, you can just with the Alt, it acts as an eraser, and you can take out some of the effects. Okay, I'm gonna dodge here a little bit because the sun was coming down here. I'm going to dodge that tree a little bit so we have even more attention on the sun here. I think I want to click new. I'm going to dodge inside of the water to make more reflection and so that the eyes is drawn in the water, but that's way too much. That's why I made a new brush so I can make it more subtle. Okay, and I'm going to... Now, one mistake that I did, remember I told you that I shot at 7.1. If you look at this photo and if I zoom in, you will see it's pretty sharp everywhere except here on the left. Because one photo, you see here how these trees are a bit blurry, because one photo I focused on this tree and not on this tree. So if I would have been at f13 or watched my focus more, I would have gotten a better result. But you know, it's not so bad. It makes a sort of a depth of field effect on the trees, you know. It's kind of weird here, but that's a mistake that I did. I should have made sure that when I took that photo, I was focusing on this tree instead of this, and probably be at f13 everywhere. But, you know, it's still a nice photo, and I'm going to give you a smaller version of the raw files so you can play around with it. I'm probably going to sell this photo to a gallery, so I'm not going to give you the actual real big raw files. But, you know, you can still do a nice, you know, screen wallpaper or something with it. And it's a cool photo, and it's cool to play around with. Okay, I'm still dodging, so maybe I'm going to add a little bit of light here, you know, and just to make it more interesting, a bit of light here. And voila, I think I'm pretty much done with the photo. Let me show you the before, / key, before, after. And yes, it looks amazing because of all the colors, but it was truly like this. You know, this is again the iPhone video that I took while I was shooting this, so you can see, you know, how amazing the light was. And this is just my vision of the beauty that was there. And the trick is, look how the sky is sort of puffy. It's not too much HDR. It gives, also it's very saturated, it gives a natural look to it. And when you have the chance to witness a beautiful sunset on this planet, the colors become very, very saturated. And that's what I'll try to do in this photo. Hope you like this. This is one of my favorite photo ever, and I hope you learn a few things. And if you like this kind of tutorial, go to my website, photosearch.com, and click on tutorials. There is 3 courses that I really advise you to do, and I'm going to give you a special price for it because you're watching this video. And that is a Lightroom C complete training, Photoshop for Photographer, and the HDR Masterclass. The Lightroom CC complete training is 6 hours course that's going to take you through the entire modules of Lightroom. We're going to do 9 full different retouching projects. We're going to do books, we're going to do web galleries, we're going to use the map module, we're going to do lots of things. It's my most complete course on Lightroom CC, and Lightroom CC is an amazing software. Then you have Photoshop for Photographer. Photoshop for Photographer is also a 5 hours course that's going to get you through from not knowing Photoshop to being able to do HDR panoramas, changing skies, doing composites, black and white, and all kind of things you need to know as a photographer using Photoshop. And the last one is the HDR Masterclass. The HDR Masterclass is going to use Photomatics to show you how to get this kind of really very powerful looks that you can get with HDR that's so popular today. If you order any of this course by clicking Add to Cart, and you put in, you can check out here, and the code I'm going to give you, the promo code is going to give you is called Big Sur, because that's what we did today, Big Sur. And if you click here, then it's going to be 37% off on that course. So that's something you can use. It's for a limited time only. Just use the code Big Sur to get 37% off my 3 bestsellers course, which is Lightroom CC Complete Training, Photoshop for Photographer, or HDR Masterclass. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you in another free episodes. Bye-bye. Wow.